Alright, y'all. Hello. We're going to be taking a look at a new sport today. I haven't done this in a while. I'm pretty excited about it. Now, it's something sort of similar, but probably quite different to baseball here in the U.S. In America, baseball is, well, they call it the pastime here. It is a very, I think, legendary sport. It's a big part of our sporting culture. It has always been my favorite sport. It's the sport I played the most. I played a lot of other sports for a handful of years throughout my youth. But baseball, I played for literally like 21 years, from a little toddler all the way up to, an adult in my 20s. Awesome sport. I totally love it. I, totally understand it. And so when I get to look at other sports that are sort of in that arena, it's pretty fascinating to say the least. And that's what we're going to do. This is from Finland. It's called, I believe, Pesäpallo or something like that. I might be saying it slightly wrong. But this was suggested to me recently on Discord by Kaiuru. I think something like that. I apologize if I say your name wrong. But I appreciate suggestions like this. And we'll be looking at the rules of Pesäpallo and see if we can grasp how the sport works. This will be linked down below so you can check out this stuff on your own and browse their channels. Let's jump straight into this. I am pretty stoked to find out about it. And let's make sure the speed is not terrible. There we go. Sorry about that. First screenshot. I mean, the uniforms are different, but I mean, it's familiar because you have like the pinstripes, right? You have a white uniform and the stripes. That's what literally the White Sox wear. So that seems familiar. Obviously, a lot more color and kind of, I don't know, like sponsorships or stuff going on. So that's different.
Nin explains the rules of Pesäpallo. The object of the game is to score more runs than the other team.
Oh, wow.
Pesäpallo, sometimes referred to as Finnish baseball, is the national sport of Finland and is derived from American baseball.
So there you go. That's American baseball. I know that. I'm interested to see some clips.
But a word of warning to my American friends. Do not assume that this is just like American baseball.
Oh, I won't.
It's not. Comparing Pesäpallo with American baseball will most likely lead to confusion and your lack of understanding. So keep an open mind and think of this as a completely different sport.
I will. That's why I treaded lightly at the beginning. I like to always say they're in the same, like ballpark, no pun intended. They're not the same sport, but, Formula One is a sport and it's nothing like baseball. I think it's fair to say this would be more like American baseball than Formula One. That's what I always have to say. Don't take me literally when I say that they're similar. They're not, but they are sort of. But yeah, I'm anxious to see. First impressions right away, the field and the way they're kind of hitting the ball looks a lot different. So let's see.
Together. To score a run, you must hit the ball within the area of play and run across the 3 bases and back to home.
Okay.
The field of play is long and narrow.
Whoa. Okay, first up, I'm going to be pausing this a lot because I like to study stuff. I'm not generic. I like to really get in depth with stuff. Okay, so pitcher and hitter are right next to each other. That's already throwing me off because in baseball, of course, the pitcher would be somewhere around here and they pitch the ball really fast at you and you have to hit it. Obviously, all the bases are different. This is kind of bizarre. You're running over here and then you're kind of skedaddling back this way, then back this way. So it's like a zigzag. Whereas you would just run in a diamond pattern numerically, like you would expect in American baseball. So that's kind of interesting. Then you come over to third and you would go kind of like wide, it looks like, back to home. And then you would score a run. Totally different fielders as well. First baseman. Catcher is somehow over here. Okay, can't wait to see that explained. Second baseman, third baseman. There's 2 shortstops instead of 1, and they're actually out here. Then you have a right fielder and a left fielder. No center fielder required. How interesting. Actually, down here is an MLB field, and I think this is, size compared. Look at the Pesäpallo field. It looks ginormous. It looks huge. This one right here versus this one. This is getting interesting real quick.
Generally a maximum of 96 meters by 42 meters.
Wow.
The bases form a zigzag shape, and each base is further away than the last.
Oh, wow.
If you hit the ball outside the area of play, this is a foul ball, and the batter is not allowed to run.
Okay, so that is similar. I'm assuming the area of play is similar to baseball, where you have to hit it in that forward-facing field. So if you hit it straight sideways or straight behind you and it's outside of these lines, it's going to be a foul ball, right?
So hitting the ball as far as you can won't do you much good here. The defending team
really? This is foul? So if you hit it over the fences back there, it's foul? That should be a home run. Of course, in American baseball, that would be a home run. That's actually interesting, and it is a totally different sport. Just from that fact alone, you don't want to swing for the fences and try and smash the ball out into space. That takes more strategy. You might want to hit the ball far, maybe for some reasons. I'm still learning, but you don't want to hit it too far. And that changes how you're going to swing, how hard you want to hit it. And arguably, even though it is hard to hit home runs, and it definitely takes skill, it almost takes more skill to hit it far without hitting it too far. Maybe you could argue that.
The defending team will put 9 players on the field, whilst the batting team will stand around home base in a semicircle. The job of the batting team is to score. The team will stand around home base.
Sorry, I really want to study this. So there's a batter, the pitcher's right there, and the batting team is right around in a circle. Well, that's so bizarre. Now, I know how fouls act will be different because they're not pitching in front of you, coming at you, so there's less of a chance you're going to hit it and foul tip it behind you, which would mean these guys are all in danger. But that doesn't look like the case if he's right there. Regardless of which direction it goes, it's going forward.
Base in a semicircle. The job of the batting team is to score as many runs as possible by hitting the ball and running around the bases.
Wow.
They will send a batter to meet the defending pitcher
at
the pitching plate.
Look at the pitch delivery.
The pitcher's job is to pitch the ball vertically in the air, at least 1 meter above his head, and for the ball to land on the pitching plate.
Wow, that's actually kind of hard as well. That could be difficult, so they have to practice, like you would imagine. Totally different pitcher style and totally different practice method than here in the U.S. with American baseball. But I would say pretty hard because you have to get it a certain height up, but also you have to have it land on that plate. That's not easy. Throwing something up and essentially aiming for it to land at a certain place below you is a lot easier said than done. And it's a totally different aiming thought process than when you're throwing in front of you. Wow.
A strike is any legal pitch, and a batter is allowed 3 strikes before he must become a runner. If the pitcher throws the ball at least 1 meter in the air and it lands on the plate, it's a strike.
Got it.
If the batter swings and misses any ball, it's also a strike.
Got it.
If a batter makes contact with the ball, it's a strike. If you hit the ball within the area of play, you are eligible to run, but you don't have to.
What?
Remember, you can use all 3 strikes to decide whether you want to run or not.
Wait, he hit the ball in play and then went back and they have to pitch it again? Do they have a new ball that's fed to them immediately or what? That's so weird.
An illegal pitch is known as a ball or a bad pitch. If the pitcher misses the plate, it's a bad pitch.
Okay.
If the pitcher doesn't throw it at least 1 meter in the air, it's also a bad pitch.
All right.
Or if the pitcher does something else wrong, it's a bad pitch. If there are no runners on the bases, 1 single bad pitch is all it takes for a batter to walk to first base.
Oh, wow.
If there are runners on base, 2 bad pitches will allow the point runner, who is standing on the highest numbered base, to walk to the next base.
Wow.
The job of the defending team is to remove the batters from the lineup and get players out of the game. In Pesäpallo, being caught and being out are 2 different things. If a batter hits the ball in the air and it's caught on the fly by the defending team, anybody trying to run for the base has been caught. This prevents them from scoring, but this does not mean...
Wow, so people running, if they were on first or second base and their teammate hit the ball out into the air and it was caught, all those runners that were already out on the field are gone?
They are out. The only way for a defending team to get players out is if they throw the ball to the base that they are running to. If the ball beats the batter to the base, they are out.
Also caught and then out. I'm sorry, I am a little bit confused there. You see him say this one more time.
Has been caught. This prevents them from scoring, but this does not mean they are out.
Oh, okay. So they stay out on the field and they're caught and they cannot score at home plate. That's what I'm understanding, but they're not out. Okay.
The only way for a defending team to get players out is if they throw the ball to the base that they are running to. If the ball beats the batter to the base, they are out. Also, if a batter hits a foul ball on the third strike, the batter is automatically out.
Ooh, that's tough. I don't like that one. As a baseball player, I don't like that one because I was famous for, in my day, trying to make pitchers work. And if he was, you throw balls and strikes. So, if he threw one ball, two balls, I'm letting him throw them. Then if I am up in the count, he wants to throw a strike, I'll just let it go by. All right. And then I would always swing when I have one strike because I don't want to let a second strike go by without trying. So I would, swing if I missed or I hit a foul ball. Okay, so now I have two strikes. Pressure's on. But I was good with the pressure. So when I had two strikes, I was famous for almost purposely being able to, if the pitch wasn't exactly how I liked it, I would swing at it and almost slice it on purpose so the ball would go foul. And I was protected because if you hit a foul ball with two strikes in baseball, you're good. They got to pitch again. And basically you can hit, you can hit 8 foul balls in a row and you're still up to bat. And you're just making the pitcher work more. You're making him more tired. And you're making him probably, angry or messing with his head a little bit, like making him, throwing him off his game a little bit. And that's what baseball is. I always said that baseball wasn't so much a super physical sport like, hockey or football or American football, where there's all these hits going on, but rather it's a mental game, right? There's a lot of one-on-one opportunities. When you steal a base, you got to get there before the catcher throws you out. When you're up to bat, it's you versus the pitcher, right? So it's a lot of mental gymnastics in baseball. And I loved hitting foul balls when I had two strikes until I got a pitch I liked or until he threw it on the ground and walked me onto base. So hitting a foul when you already have two strikes and it counts as a strike, oh, I don't like that one. That's tough. That's tough. When he said the sport was different, he wasn't lying. This is a lot different. So different that if I walked onto Pesäpallo field right now, I would be freaking lost. There's a lot of different rules.
Their half of the inning is over, and the other team gets to bat.
Right.
Once both teams have batted, this is known as an inning.
Yeah.
The game is played in 2 periods of 4 innings each. Winning 2 periods wins the game.
Wow, okay.
If both teams have won 1 period, an extra period of 1 inning will be played to determine the winner.
So if they go to the extra period, it is basically the equivalent of like 9 innings, like a baseball game would be.
That's basically the rules in a nutshell, but there's a few other things that you need to know before playing or watching Pesäpallo. For example, jokers. For 1 inning, a batting team can add 3 additional players to their batting lineup. This means that you can temporarily have 12 players in the batting order as opposed to the normal 9. These are the jokers. They wear a different coloured jersey and they can play in any part of the batting order they want.
That's crazy.
Their job is to increase the number of runs scored, especially if they're down on runs.
Wow.
Home run. If the batter manages to hit the ball legally and run to third base, this is a home run and this scores 1 run automatically.
Wow. So you only have to get to third to count as a home run, and you're hitting it inside the park, so it's like totally different. But I imagine that is still an equal accomplishment. That has got to be hard to do because keep in mind, you're running diagonally. You're running over here. Then you got to totally change course and run over here. Then you got to totally change course and run over there. How are you going to cover that much ground while the ball's in the field? That would be very difficult. You'd have to be very fast.
Automatically. The batter then stays on third base and can run back to home base on a later play for an additional run.
Wow, that's cool.
This means that a batter can potentially score 2 runs by themselves.
Yeah.
Inning over. Another way for an inning to be over is if all the members of the batting lineup fails to score at least 2 runs. If the entire batting lineup has taken their turn to bat and has scored 1 run or less, the inning is over.
Wow, okay.
Strategy.
So I take it this is a much higher scoring game than American baseball, because you can have 9 innings, 3 hours of American baseball, and the score could be 1-0, right? Like, it is totally not high scoring for the most part. This sounds like way more scoring. Like, if you don't score, the inning's over. So that tells me there's a heavy emphasis on scoring often.
The strategy of the batting team is to hit the ball in areas where it's difficult for the defending team to get players out. They generally hit the ball away from the bases that the players are standing on. As previously mentioned, hitting the ball as far as you can won't do you much good here.
No.
You have to be selective where you hit the ball.
It's more about hitting the ball in gaps and getting it to roll away from anyone who is on the field. That's basically what it is, right? Splitting gaps and having it stay out of their hands as long as possible.
The defending team is to predict where the ball will be hit and position fielders to try and get catches and outs.
That's interesting.
Remember, do not compare it to the rules of American baseball.
No.
Treat this as a completely different sport, and it's a lot easier to understand.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is a totally different sport. It's fun to see the very few kind of base parallels between the two. There are some, but from there, it's just totally different worlds. Baseball's over here, and Pesäpallo's over here. They're just totally different. And of course, as a baseball fan, I think I would love to dive into watching some of these games and trying to see it in real time, see how a game plays out, see how the vibe is, see how the energy is, see how the speed is. I'm assuming the speed, you could generally say, is probably much higher. The pace of the game is higher on this because baseball is famously slow. American baseball is famously slow. And, I kind of like that. It's like a chill viewing experience. A lot of people hate it. Remember, a lot of Americans don't watch baseball as much as they did decades ago. I'm kind of the outlier. I like baseball, and, I know people that do like it, but a lot of people don't. Because it's just slow or whatever. But yeah, this sounds very interesting. A lot more maybe room for strategies, different fielding positions. I would love to hear in the comments your experience with this sport as, a spectator and also as a player. If there's anyone out there, that'd be great. Anyone, that has either played or watched in depth American baseball and this, what are some interesting, observations you can tell me about? That would be great. I feel like there's a lot of room for teams to kind of have their own style with this game, as is the case in most sports. But I feel like in this sport, teams can maybe differ really greatly, and so you might have some really cool matchups where you're really wondering who's going to win, because between the different hitters and then the other variables like jokers and the different fielding strategies, right? Like they might be all stacked on one side or whatever. I feel like this is fascinating. I feel like it's got a little more depth in that kind of regard than baseball does. More flexibility, you could say. Because as fun and interesting and as like mentally, fighting as baseball can be, it's pretty rigid, I would say, when it comes to the rules and generally what teams can do. They all have, unique players and maybe a unique style and stuff, but really that kind of confines that uniqueness exists in is pretty small compared to this, I feel like. I'm going to look up a couple pictures of this and then we'll end the video. So if I just go to search Google, go right here. Look at this. Fast moving bat and ball sport. Culture of Finland. Now, do they play this anywhere else? They do. National Sport of Finland. That's really cool. It also has some presence in other places, including Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, Australia, really, and Canada's Northern Ontario, really. It is similar to brandball. I'll have to look these up. Rounders, lapta, and baseball. Wow. I didn't even know there were other things that were involved here. Cool. Pesapallo is a combination of traditional ball batting team games and North American baseball. It was invented by Lauri Taco Pekala and I'm sure I said that wrong. I apologize. That was in the 1920s. It has changed with the times and grown in popularity. On November 14th, 1920, it was played for the first time in Helsinki. Wow, that is cool, man. And then, yeah, I won't read through this because we pretty much heard about that. But yeah, I mean, the field is interesting. Let me see like some real pictures. Look at that. Totally different, man. So they're really playing on all like gravel or sand, whereas, you know, you would only have the infield be sand and then, of course, grass, very well manicured grass in baseball. Whereas this grass kind of looks rough and it's got advertisements. So they're really, I'm assuming all the players are just in this. Only they're not messing with the land out there, basically. Really interesting looking, though. I have to say the pure aesthetics-wise, I think baseball fields look better. They look beautiful. But this does look sharp. I mean, this part does, of course, look really good. It's just totally different, whereas this looks a little more rough out there, but maybe that's just that field. Batter hitting the ball. I think that would be interesting. Are the balls all that highlighter color? Because that's interesting. You will find that here, but usually the balls tend to be white. I'd say the most in baseball. Now, of course, you have the same aspect of like, you know, throwing it, catching it, trying to get guys out. That's pretty cool. Home plate looks different. Look at that guy diving in midair. That is absolutely wild. Of course, the uniforms, there are some differences as well. Let's see the equipment. Yeah, there's the ball again. I would love to feel the ball. I bet it's different. The bats look like they might be similar. I would assume there's not huge differences in the bat. Now the gloves look totally different, and the helmets do as well. I love baseball gloves. I have to say these are a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Minimal. Well, yeah, I'm gonna end it there. That is hella interesting. Wow, I love looking at different sports, and I will try to revisit this at another time and do some more research and maybe find a way to find games where I can just see it in motion being played, right, for a set time. And, you know, that's always best to really kind of finally embrace what the game's all about and understand it better. That was a lot of fun. Please comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And I really appreciate awesome suggestions like this as well. That's going to do it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you watching. My name is Ian, and watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.